So, one last thing, the one last question I want to ask you is kind of like a big overarching theme because, and kind of a definition. Each person I speak to, I had a chance to speak with Eddie Glaude Jr., Adolph Reed, and each of time we spoke about neoliberalism.
Adolph Reed is one of my heroes. That guy can see through the bullshit like
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah.
I
He's
like him.
masterful. He's masterful. And each of them gave like a working definition of neoliberalism. But for you, you said that you don't
Yeah.
really like to use that word.
I don't like to use the word because it confuses people. Because it's a British term. So for the British, the liberals were this 19th century party, with Gladstone and that sort of thing. And they believed in free trade and they believed in laissez-faire economics and that sort of thing. And then they pretty much died out. They were supplanted by the Labour Party, who moved considerably to the left. But that's the British definition. So there to say neoliberal makes a lot of sense. But here we think of liberals as a Franklin Roosevelt types.
Right.
And to say, you take a guy like Ronald Reagan, who's this sort of, this very neoliberal figure in the British sense,
Right.
or Margaret Thatcher, they don't seem liberal to us.
Right.
That's all. That's my only problem with it. It's just
So,
but it's.
yeah, no, I'm sorry.
But you and I know what it means, so we can use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And my audience, I hit them across the head with it like every other night. So they're getting to the point where that it's kind of an accepted word, a choice to describe what's going on. But if you could leave us with what is your snapshot definition of neoliberalism, one, and then the bigger question is how do we begin to fight back against it, or is it even feasible to do so at this point? So how do you define it and how do you fight against it?
Oh, yes. So I would actually change your definition a little bit, because what I'm interested in these days is Clintonism, which I associate with Bill Clinton, but I imagine Hillary will see a lot of the same kind of thing. Clintonism is exactly what you just described. It's deregulation for Wall Street. It's this, it's what they call "quote unquote" free trade, with NAFTA and permanent normal trade in China and the WTO and this kind of thing. But it's all of these favors for the knowledge industries, as they like to call them, and at the same time, so some people get the carrot and other people get the stick. At the same time, using the heavy hand of the state to punish all of these people at the other end of the spectrum. So you have welfare reform at the exact same time that he is doing all these amazing favors for Wall Street, including bailouts, right? Bill Clinton did this backdoor bailout for Citibank via the Mexican bonds that the Mexican government had been issuing. And they bailed out a hedge fund when Bill Clinton was president. It's not widely remembered anymore, but they did. And at the same time, they're destroying the welfare program, and there's this enormous private prison roundup that is going on, this mass incarceration thing. That's Clintonism. And that's a kind of, Clinton got a lot of the neoliberal agenda done that the Republicans could not achieve.
Never do. Yeah.
He got all these sort of things. So bank deregulation was something the Republicans really wanted to do, but they couldn't do it, especially repealing Glass-Steagall. I mean, Reagan started chipping away at it, but he didn't get very far. It was Clinton that really did it. There was this whole series of bank deregulations when Clinton was president. And these were things, and the Clinton people, by the way, this is in Listen Liberal, they boasted about this in their internal White House memos. We did what Reagan couldn't do. We got things done that even Reagan could. They were proud of this. And this is what we're looking at. So this is extremely backwards economically, but of course they don't see it that way. They see it as this great advance. It's the knowledge industries. It's it's this wonderful innovation districts and all this kind of thing. And then socially very liberal, but extremely backwards with regards to people who work for a living. And that's Clintonism. And it's coming. It'll be back. It's on its way. There's nothing stopping it now.
Thomas Frank, the author of the book Listen Liberal, or Whatever Happened to the Party of the People. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I've been a fan of your work for some time, so I was very excited when you were available to come on.
Me as well. I'm a fan of yours as well.
Awesome.
I've been watching you on YouTube for quite a while.
Oh, really? Wow, that's
Yeah, yeah.
well, okay. I'm going to be smiling for a little while because I honestly, I love again. I said at the top, but I absolutely love reading work that actually explains what I've been grappling with. And with What's the Matter with Kansas, I was grappling with that exact question, and you answered it. And with Listen Liberal, I was grappling with the exact question of what the hell is going on with the Democratic Party, and I think you really answered it in a very masterful way. So thank you so much for coming on. I have to get you back so we can just do a full show, a full hour
Anytime.
conversation on some deep dives.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Sure thing.
857-600-0518 is the place to call if you want to get in on that. Thomas Frank said he was a fan of mine. How about that? He's been watching my videos on YouTube. All right. How about that?